Things people love. Things
All right.
people love.
To start, you guys need to put your headphones on.
Where do you live yourself? Do you live here?
I live in
You should
Belfast.
find the headphones
All right,
at the
okay.
back of your chair.
Yeah, I'm from Strabane.
I was gonna say, I that accent I've been trying to.
Can you
I've been
hear
in
us
Liverpool
now?
for 15 years, so
Yeah.
it's kind of blended
Yes?
a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm from Strabane.
Awesome. All right,
I've been
well,
over
we'll
here for-
start with introductions. I'm Blair, and I head up product management for the buyer experience and live commerce on eBay.
I'm Ashish. I'm the general manager over eBay's live commerce and collectibles businesses. And I'm excited to have the four of you join us on the stage today. Maybe to start off with, why don't you guys tell us a bit about your name, about your companies, and what do you sell, and how long you've been selling on eBay?
So my name's Sam. I am the director of Chibi Collectibles, and I specialise in trading cards, especially Pokemon. I've been on eBay for I think just over 14 years now, but it's been going better and better every year. So yeah, it's doing really well.
Yeah, I'm Jordan. I'm the director of Big Box Gaming. I specialize in vintage collectibles such as Pokemon cards, CGC signs, Stan Lee comics, and then I've just branched into the Labubu brand. But I've been on eBay for about just over 4 years as a business seller and just branched into eBay Live, yeah.
I'm Jacques. I'm the managing director of Trading Desk. We sell streetwear and luxury apparel, and we have been on eBay for about 4 years, and yeah, growing strongly.
Hi, I'm Max Leitman. I'm the president of Linda Stuff. We've actually been selling on eBay for close to 25 years.
Okay.
We sell mostly clothing, shoes, and accessories, contemporary on to luxury. And thanks for having me all the way here.
Thank you for joining us.
Awesome. Well, since this is the live session, curious what motivated you all to start selling on eBay Live?
Shall I start? I think for me it was just to keep expanding the business. I always see eBay Live as just like another side of eBay that I could use that was more for capital to keep selling, moving through product quicker. It works really well, especially in like the Pokemon TCG side. We get stuff in all the time, and you can get it out within a week, which is obviously great for capital, then rebuying, and kind of just a huge cycle. I mean, I have someone who streams for me, and it takes a lot of pressure off me then. All I need to do is stock the product, and then she streams on behalf. She sells the inventory, and it's just like a really good cycle that works. But yeah, I mean, at the minute it's fantastic. Like the growth I've seen is phenomenal since I started in May it was at the first Comic-Con. So yeah, it's been fantastic.
Awesome.
Yeah, so obviously about 70% of the households have eBay in general. So it's now transitioning onto the live selling side of things. We do it at trade shows as it is. Like I say, I specialize in vintage collectibles, and it's more the personal touch that buyers now get, seeing who's the face behind the brand. And then can we see things in person as opposed to just a simple picture on a live broadcast. So that side of things kind of attracted me initially. I do all the selling and pretty much everything involved with my particular business model. But again, it's more the personal touch, creating a community, creating an area where people can discuss and talk about the particular hobby or collectible item they're looking to buy. And that's kind of what attracted me, and it was a natural evolution to move into live for being on the eBay platform as it was.
Yeah, for us, I mean, I think you've seen there's been a lot of general growth in live selling, and that was definitely something, you know, we were very well aware of it, and you know, we wanted to get involved and selling on eBay. We actually have a physical store in London and a team there that helps. But yeah, we were really keen as soon as the live proposition launched in the UK to give it a go, and I think both from a marketing tool and as a sales tool on eBay, it's been fantastic so far. So yeah, really enjoying the experience.
Awesome. Yeah, for us, we knew nothing about live commerce. Like, it was 3 years ago, eBay came to us and said, we're launching eBay Live. We'd love for you to test it out. And we did, and I'll never forget the first time. I think we were the first fashion seller to sell on eBay Live, and eBay said, we don't even have a place to do it. They mailed us TVs and a screen and said, here's what you do. And we took some of our inventory, and it was producing a TV show is really what it felt like.
Yeah.
And it's been awesome. It was a journey. We started 3 years ago. We're now 3 years in, we now do 2 live shows a day. We're live for about 5 hours a day. I do not host, but we have a great team of people that have become our brand ambassadors who are our hosts. We have people who manage the host console. The community that we've built through eBay Live has been incredible, and it's really helped grow the greater business. It's a community builder and a brand builder. So it's been awesome.
Thank you for sharing that about each of your journeys. What's been so interesting for me, as you talked about that, you all have to some degree come from very different places onto, wow, this could work for me. You all touched on this a little bit in some ways, shape or form, but could you talk a little bit more about the impact being on live has that on your business overall? Maybe I'll start that with you, Max, because you've been on eBay Live the longest. What has that felt like for you as a transition, and then maybe?
Yeah, eBay Live is the largest growth part of our business right now. I mean, hands down, it has grown my business tremendously. It's not necessarily like a one-to-one. It's not just additive sales. So like if I sell $1,000 today on live, that's just me. Sales don't go up by $1,000 because there is some overlap between like eBay.com core and live, but the overall growth is there. It's also a way to get new customers. It's a way to build your brand. So yes, at the end of the day, it's dollars and cents. It's got to make sense for your business, and you've got to make money doing it, which for us it has. It wasn't that on day one. It took some time to get there. And there's a lot of things, I'm sure we'll talk more about that later, but overall it's been a net positive for our business.
Very cool.
Yeah, for us, I mean, obviously on eBay UK Live is new this year. It's very much about, I suppose, a business use case and using it where you want and what's right for your business. For us, we tend to use it as a sort of like end of life, for product that maybe is age stock that we want to move quickly. And it's a really immersive experience in terms of, like you say, core. You're getting to build a brand, put a face to the brand, engage with customers on chat. Really sort of engage around the products themselves. If customers have questions for us with streetwear or sneakers, they may they get to see the product more. Yeah. So there's definitely an aspect, and we've experienced a lot of growth on both the sales side, from a sales velocity perspective, selling stock quickly. Yeah. But then, as you say, generally on a community aspect as well, we see. Now that we've been doing lives for a while, we see the same customers coming back to us regularly, engaging with our store, that translating from live onto the core channel, where we now see that we're selling, directly as part of core to live customers. So, it's a really fantastic tool, like I say, on the marketing side, on building your channel, and also supporting the bottom line, which I suppose as a business is the most important thing.
Yeah, I think just following on from that point, obviously the collectible sector is probably one of the fastest growing categories within the platform currently, and obviously with the live capability, it's enhanced, like you kind of mentioned, the speed or the momentum of selling. Now it's more like an event each time you do a session, so you can schedule a really exciting, interesting stream with a particular category of items, and then that translates new and returning customers. We're seeing about a 65 to 35% return to new customer ratio. And that's translating then to core to increase your product sales as we go along week by week. But kind of like you mentioned before, it's the community element, especially in collectibles. People want to come in and discuss what they're collecting, what they're doing, what they're looking to purchase. And then each event, obviously, I'd say consistency is very key. If you're doing the same times and slots each week, it creates an event platform for your particular brand of items to be selling on there. So yeah, for us, it's been a great enhancement to our traditional selling methods on core, and it just makes it much more momentum as we go along week by week.
Yeah, and again, just to kind of touch on that, I always see eBay Live as an extension to what I already had on eBay.
Yeah.
It just allowed me to do things that I couldn't do previously. Obviously, me and Jordan both being in collectibles and Pokemon, it's a lot of like ripping packs and stuff, and it's like momentum building. And like Jordan said, now every stream is such an event, and everyone comes in the community, and they're all like, bantering with each other and enjoying themselves. And obviously, I have somebody who hosts for me, and she's built the community for me as well, which has helped. And people come in not just for the items, but to be a part of that little community which we've built, which is like fantastic. I've also seen a lot of like movement from people buying on my eBay Live to then going to my core, which is fantastic for seeing the growth of the overall my eBay store go up. I mean, this month alone, I've done my highest ever sales, which was like, it's been fantastic. And I've been on eBay for quite a long time as a business seller. So, I mean, it's improved my business tenfold. And yeah, sky's the limit, I think. I'm super excited for it.
It's really good to hear you say that, because I've heard, I think the themes that you all touched on, I've heard other sellers often talk about how the fun it brings in, allows you to create a community, create presence for yourself, create awareness for others about your store, products you're selling, create velocity. It's really refreshing to hear that sort of experience is shared by you guys as well.
Yep.
Yeah, I kind of actually wanted to double down on that in terms of like, what are the tips that you would give other sellers who are thinking about coming into the live experience about how you build that community?
Yeah.
How do you drive users to come back? And what has that done for your business? And maybe we'll take it like Jordan, Max, just one from the card side and one
sure.
from the fashion side.
So from the collectible side, like I found this initially. How do you establish yourself on the platform? You start out and you're like, where do I begin? Kind of like what you started out. Where do I begin in terms of getting people to join my particular stream? So I think consistency is the main one. If you create, it's like an event, so you want to have a schedule. People move around their personal time to fit in with your particular schedule of selling. Like for example, if I start at 7 o'clock on a particular weekday, people will move their schedule around to know this particular individual is selling this stock at this particular time. Also, you want to have a variation of inventory for various levels of sellers. You may have higher end vintage, more expensive items. You may also have lower end to have a variation of price points. You don't know what everyone's budget may be, so you want to keep a good variety of stock on hand. And then also, it's the personality factor. People come in to, have fun, enjoy themselves, take part in this particular person's community build. And like I say, it's the engagement side of things that helps a lot in the collectible side. People want to talk about their own collections as well as the items you have to sell. But I'd say the main thing for brand new people coming onto eBay Live is consistency. Consistency is very key.
Yeah, I really echo pretty much everything you said. For us, we started with a noon show, Eastern Standard Time, transparently, because that's what worked in our company's schedule. So the first thing is, I agree with consistency, but to get to consistency, you've got to make sure that it works for you.
Yes.
And for us, that was the first show we did, and it started at 1 day a week. So we knew every Wednesday we would be live at noon, and that's what we could, as a business, afford to put towards live at the beginning. And then went to 3 days a week, and now 5 days a week, and now we're doing 14 shows a week. But with that said, I think consistency is the number one thing, but also engagement. And you hit on this also, but it's an escape for a lot of people. When they join an eBay Live show, they're there to buy, but they also, you want to make it enjoyable for them. If you just go, here's this shirt.
Yeah.
Do you want it? Yes, no. Here's the center. You keep going. It's not going to be fun. People, you want to ask questions, icebreakers, how people share a lot of personal things in our lives.
Correct.
Like, they know what's going on. Like, even they talk to one another. Like, we have a seller, Emmy in Miami, who I know always talks to Fritos every day. I have these two people that join every day. They're amazing, and they chat. And they, I don't think they've ever met other than chatting noon every day in the Linda Stuff Live. But that type of engagement in that community is infectious, and people join and talk amongst each other. So it's not necessarily about what you're selling. The sales will follow the community that you can build with that.
I was going to ask one more question, actually, which I think is a unique part of live, is like, how much of your show do you actually plan ahead versus how fluid is it during the show? And how much are you responding to the audience?
I could probably take this. I do a bit of both. So I try and be relatively organized, so I'll know the stack of inventory that I'm running. But as we go through the streams, like I'll start doing fun things. Like somebody will go, can we run 3 cards at once for like one auction? And I'm like, yeah, okay, let's do that. Because they've asked for it. It's a bit of an engagement piece. They want to see an impact from them directly communicating to the seller, kind of like you mentioned. It's like a community builder. They want to see, I want to be involved with what you're doing. Obviously, you still have the inventory, but let's make it fun and engaging. So I try and myself take it on the fly as we go through the particular stream. So it is organized to an extent. We know the time slot. We know roughly the inventory, but I make it fun and engaging for what the audience wants when they come in to ask questions or maybe ask for a bit more of a fun kind of auction. So,
yeah, for us, that's we have a start time and we have the inventory set, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Because you don't know the audience in the room is dynamic. You don't know what the chat, how engaging it's going to be. So at first, the host may need to try to drive that engagement and talk. Sometimes people come in firing. And they're just like, I want to see this bag. What's going on? The weather's crazy. Did you watch this movie? And it's just engaging. So we don't necessarily have a true run of show. We curate the inventory, which is also very random. We use AI to do that now, which is really fun. And we have our time slot. And kind of everything else from there is
organic.
Yeah.
So let's build on that for a minute, because there are 2 questions I get from a lot of sellers that are curious about live to begin with. One maybe start with that one first, is what do I sell? How do I figure out this will work well for me? And Max, you touched on this a little bit. Jack, you and I were talking earlier. Yep. You talked about end of life or end of cycle sort of fashion. And for both of you, maybe why don't you two start with a little bit of the, within fashion, if you're a fashion seller,
Yep.
what has helped you figure out what will work well for live audiences? And maybe same question back to the two of you from a collectibles standpoint.
I think for us, getting started on live, and like something I would add as a sort of recommendation is just start. Like at the very start of it, live is a learning experience. And even, we were talking about this earlier, even that scale and where you guys are at, you're learning every sort of live. You're learning what your audience want from a product perspective. From a product perspective, at the very start, we knew that we were sort of looking at products that would get some general engagement. Again, it was sort of a new audience to the UK market, so we wanted to put some low price points in there and get some engagement. And again, we even push some. We'll maybe take a loss on one product and we'll start one high value pair of sneakers at a £1 auction, and that's the hook. Talk about the entertainment factor. We now, I suppose, we've learned what our audience want, and part of that is engaging and asking the audience, what do you want to see? We can see what sells well, so that sort of evolves over time in terms of understanding. I think at the start, it's just a starting point. We as a business, we made that decision. Here's the products we're going to run with. Here's the assumption that we have based on our sort of core that these are the products people want to see. These are the price points they want them for. You see that from offers on core. And I suppose we tried to give some of the customers on live at the start what they want, and there's a continuation of that, and then it's just an evolution. But the very first live, it doesn't. You don't need to go in. It doesn't need to be a huge production setup. It's just about getting started. You're not going to get maybe maybe you are, but for us, results took a bit of time in terms of you have to build that community. It's not an instant success. But doing that and all the recommendations about setting the schedule, we have seen a lot of growth on the live front. Just committing to that time, weekly time. For us, it's on a weekly basis at the minute. I'd love for us to have the demand, the sort of demand and the product to do more. We have lots of other sort of sales channels, and core is really well performing for us. So we use eBay as you said, like an addition to our core business. But yeah, that would be sort of my recommendation.
Yeah, I mean, for Pokemon, it's pretty easy to split it into three kind of categories. You have a rip and ship and a sealed product that someone wants to open. You'll have graded cards, or you'll have single cards that haven't been graded. So at the start, we kind of just presume that we do a variety of this at the start, and then we'll kind of gauge where the audience is buying more and whatever. And obviously, it's from the audience, and they tell us what they want. So we've evolved to the point now where when I schedule streams, usually 2 or 3 weeks in advance, we have an idea that, they haven't had this kind of product for a couple of weeks, so we'll put that in there. Or maybe this person was asking for these types of cards, so we'll put that in there. And it just really helps build that momentum and keep everyone engaged. And obviously, if you're bringing in products that people want, the more likely to bid and get involved. Whereas if you're just throwing anything or the cheapest things you can find to try and make the most profit, sometimes it doesn't quite work that way. It loses engagement. Mix it up a little bit. Don't just try and make things like £2, £3 cards. Throw in some £20 cards. Take a bit of a risk. Obviously, Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither is eBay Live going to be. But kind of start off how you mean to kind of go on, and you'll learn as you progress. I think nothing's going to be perfect. There's times at the start when I started, especially, and obviously I was paying a streamer. Some events I lost money on, but I knew that other ones it would average out and I'd make more on. So don't worry about the individual losses and profits and stuff. Kind of take it at an average, and obviously as you grow, obviously profit keeps growing, which is fantastic. I think do a couple of streams. Don't be put off if it's not going fantastic. Keep going. Consistency is, like we've all said, massive thing, and keep doing it. And eventually you'll get to the place where you need to be.
So there's a little bit of a learning through it.
Yeah.
Part of that is data and insights. But there's another theme that I hear a lot from sellers that are curious about live is what is only half the battle? How do I even do it? And I've heard some say, nobody wants to watch me on screen. Nobody wants to watch me either, by the way, for what it's worth. And last night when we were talking, I heard many of you talk about different ways you've tackled that. Jordan, you talked about you doing it yourself.
Yeah.
And Max, you talked about how you don't feel like you should be on screen either. And you got a host team that actually does that for you. Could I ask the two of you to talk about the other side then? Like,
Yeah.
how do you figure out how you are cut
so-
out for it?
So initially, like, again, similar, I was like, will I be able to sell on stream? Will anyone like my personality on stream? That's always the tough question. Like, am I relatable? Am I likable?
I think so.
But I think like you kind of like initially I just jumped in the deep end. Let's see how this goes, and then eventually the community will not dictate how well you're doing, but it's just more if you just be yourself. I think the authenticity shines through more so than creating maybe a facade. That's the way I found it personally. So I just kind of be myself on stream, and then people kind of buy into that. I already did trade card shows anyway live. So I had a lot of customer buying experience with dealing with people in various, areas, levels of cards, whatever it may be. So I did have that experience for dealing with a lot of customers on a regular basis. That probably helped a little. But it was more a case of I just jumped in, thought, let's see how this goes. And it's been, I've been doing everything myself ever since. And like I say, the other thing too with my particular inventory, I specialize in kind of vintage. So that's kind of what people would know me for in the sector, regardless if I did live or not. So that's why people come into my streams. And also, try and make it really fun and engaging. If you're fun and engaging, it doesn't matter if you think that you speak well or don't on stream. People will like the particular product offering that you're giving, especially if it's fun, enjoyable, and like I say, mix up your stream as you go along, especially if it's not really planned. So that's kind of my perspective. I'm very hands-on, and I like to be that way. So I don't mind being like the front of my business model.
Yeah, I think everybody's different. For
Yeah.
me, I'm a behind the camera kind of guy. So my responsibilities for the live, I manage kind of the operations, the setup, the making sure that our auctions that we're doing are all of that stuff, which is a very important role to the live.
Yes.
But for our hosts, what we're looking for is we want somebody to be energetic, who's not afraid, honestly, to be embarrassed of themselves. Like, you got to just go in there, and it might be awkward, one person talking to a camera. Similarly, like, you're all wearing headphones, and I can't even, like, feel like I'm talking to myself right now. But somebody who can have fun, and that's what the audience, and we've had a lot of our internal staff that's been able to rise up to that level, and we've also found some external hosts that have worked really well for us. But the beauty of live is that kind of anybody can do it.
Yeah.
You don't need a big tech setup. You don't need. We use an iPhone and a ring light.
Yeah.
I think our total take away the cost of a cell phone, but a ring light I think is bought on eBay for like under $20.
Yeah.
Maybe even one of them was an eBay gift that I have that says it's a laptop, and that's it. And you can go live. Bring your inventory in and try it. I don't think the capital cost to get started should be daunting. I think you have the ability to do it, and I think it's worth trying, and you'll learn. And if you're the fit to be a host, you'll find out very quickly, and maybe it's you or a partner in your business, or you bring in an external staff and see if you can make that work.
I think there's no manuscript as an exact way to do it. Each stream has its own unique variation of personality or layout. So I think it's just your own business will have its own unique USP. So just kind of run with that and not kind of try and model yourself on a competitor or another person. Everyone's got their own kind of unique way of selling.
Yeah, and just one thing I want to add is, like, every host is a different personality that could be a fit for different people. Like, they may not be necessarily like, we were talking a little bit about this last night, like, they're a host that may not be necessarily like your cup of tea. You may not just find them engaging or enjoyable, but a lot of people do.
Yes.
So I would say the audience is big out there, and different hosts have different personalities and can be engaging in different ways.
Correct.
Awesome. It's so great to hear about all your different experiences, and I know everyone is very curious to see how they can do a better job. As we wrap up, if you guys can each just give like your last tips to sellers out there that are thinking about going live. One area we also didn't talk about as much is the production side too, if you want to capture some of that in your tips.
Okay. I think I'll do production side first. Mine's the same. It's an iPhone. It's a little bit of a fancier ring light and a card stand, and it doesn't really cost much to get going. And then I think the main tip is just consistency. If you do it, just keep going at it and don't be put off. I think the main thing is it's a long-term goal. It's not going to be success overnight. So I think that's what
I think for me, like there is using the application of eBay Live, or I run my software through OBS on the laptop because you can overlay certain visuals, which kind of helps a little bit with a bit more engagement. but also what makes your stream unique. On my particular streams, I run literally, whether it's a £10 card or a £1,000 card, everything starts at 99p. So that's kind of my USP in regards to my particular streams, whether it's a really expensive card or a cheap card, and also for consistency, give a time slot, establish your foundation of this particular person usually goes at this particular time. It helps that repeat customer base. That's kind of what I find is the most beneficial tip. And then outside of that, just try everything, and something eventually will work to fit your business model.
Yeah, I mean, I think the guys have made like really valid points. I think for me, it would be at the start, don't overthink it.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, in addition to that, sort of again that consistency element of just doing it really regularly. And again, short-term results. It's not it's not a failure on sort of day two. You know, you need to sort of build momentum and grow a community over time. Would be my sort of, and again, make it work for you is the other part. You know, it's a great tool. Everybody has different individual businesses. You know, we use it in a very specific way, alongside lots of other sales channels like physical retail as well. And yeah, it can be a really good complementary tool, or it could be your whole. You know, that could be where you're doing 90% of your sales. So make it work for you.
I guess I'll have to pick another one outside. Thanks, guys. So I would say that it will take time, and I think like that's the one piece that I probably wish we knew a little bit sooner too. Is like consistency is key, but also you have to build that audience. It's not just you go live and the audience is going to be there.
Yeah.
It takes time. I mean, I would say like realistically, it's going to take 6 months before, from your first show to kind of when you're up and running with that consistent schedule, to where you really have your engagement. But also your operation. Let's talk like pre-production just for a second. Like what we did 3 years ago is wildly different than what we do now. Like the processes that we do, our item setup, how we pull our items, how we curate the sales, all of those things you'll learn and you'll iterate on and you'll get better at it as it goes. So it may be really overwhelming the first show you do, and you may say, wow, how do I do this? What do I do? But you'll make small improvements every day, every week that'll help make it a more routine part of your day-to-day.
It's trial and error, and eventually you find your sweet spot in regards to the best way to publicize your particular inventory stock.
Awesome. Look, thank you, everyone. The main message I want to make sure to just double down on as we exit this conversation, in China, live commerce today is already 30% of total e-commerce, growing rapidly in the US and UK as well.
Yep.
We are really excited about eBay Live. You heard today a little bit of what it might take to get going. Anyone can do it. Has great fit in a lot of different kinds of inventory. And whether you believe you can host or not, you can have an eBay Live component to your business. If you're curious about learning more, for those of you who are here, we have the eBay Live Lounge. Drop by with our team to learn more about it and figure out how we as eBay can help you go live. Awesome. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks.
Jordan, do you want your water?
Yeah, you can think of that.